Looks like it. Good morning, beloveds. It is Friday. At least I think it's Friday. I'm not sure. Several of my routines have changed. Like, things have moved to different days, and so I'm all confused. One of the, we went to the movie last night instead. Mostly because no other theater was showing the movie. We wanted to see it at a reasonable time. But we had the theater to ourselves, and it actually was a cute movie. I loved Lilo and Stitch when it came out. And so it was a situation of they did a live action. I was like, so I was curious, how are they going to mess this up? No, I just wanted to see, it wasn't that, I try not to go into things with negative. And they actually did a really good job. And the little girl playing Lilo was incredible. And the young woman playing Nani was amazing. So, I was pleasantly surprised. I was pleasantly surprised at how good it was. But like I said, love Lilo and Stitch. So yeah. Oh, okay. And we made a run at the pantry today. We need to get this. Since COVID and with the uptick in my autoimmune issues, the house has kind of gotten away from us again. And I was like, if we could just start here, I think we can go from here. So we got started on the pantry. In fact, Tom is still in there fussing with the pantry. He's date checking all the canned goods right now. And yeah. The house definitely got away. I don't know why I'm putting this on. I don't need it yet. Okay, so you're not here to listen to me ramble. This is just what's happening. So we are here to do living the science of mind. So let's do the housekeeping, which is just me reminding you we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. The website is creativelife.org. The constant contact email is constant contact is a email server. Why that's important is because I say blind CC, and that's a blind constant contact, which means nobody sees your email. Okay. So I'm using jargon from the email service that we use. That's what that means. But if you will email info@creativelife.org, you get one email a week, tells you what's going on for the week and the month. And there are hot links in it that will take you right to the information you want. That's important. Because it'll either take you to the information of the person that can help you get it. Like if you want to register for one of the classes, because there's a couple of classes coming up in June that are really good. Taught by our newest minister and a practitioner. So you want to check that out. Now, and like I said, nobody's going to get your emails. So worth doing, right? Okay. Then I want to remind you about the social medias. Here's the thing. We do not monetize our social media. We don't want to deal with ads any more than you do. So what we ask you to do is to like, subscribe, and follow based on which platform it is. And then like, share, and comment on the posts because it bumps us in the algorithms. Since we're not paying for ads, so that would help us out if you would do that. Yeah, I think you can share the pages too. Like send people links. Here's a Facebook page you might enjoy. Here's a YouTube channel you might enjoy. And we are Creative Life Spiritual Center or Creative Life Spark. So if you don't see us as Creative Life Spiritual Center, look for Creative Life Spark. And I am the running Rev Ryan across the social medias that I am on. So if you ever wondered where these get archived, they are archived on the Running Rev Ryan YouTube channel. Some of them have moved to. It just depends on how quickly I run out of energy. Like I owe Danielle 2 meditations. I'm 2 meditations behind on Danielle. So I need to go do that. Yeah. It's just been, I've had a busy couple of weeks. So yeah. Okay. So I think that's all the housekeeping. So let's talk about the living science of the mind. You can Google and see what they say about the book. It's his, Ernest Holmes' own commentary on his seminal work, The Science of Mind text. Yes, it is. It is also a collection of essays that came from the take-home course. There was a 48-week course in the back of the Science of Mind magazine that you could send off for. they'd send you one lesson a week for 48 weeks. That's where most of the essays come from. But what started him writing the essays, and this is just conjecture on my part, my own personal pet theory, is that people came up to Ernest and asked him questions. And he went home and wrote the answers down, which became the take-home course, which ended up being Living the Science of Mind. One of the great things that you can do with this book is just flip it open. And today, the article that I flipped to is Cause and Effect. There's something in that that would be useful for me today if I was doing that. That's what this book is really good for. I've never actually sat down and read it cover to cover, which is part of the reason why we are doing it now. Because there are articles there are essays in here that I've never read because they weren't part of a class. And I'm like, and some of them are really good. Even if the articles are, because not everything's a home run. There are at least, Ernest has very interesting turn of phrases, the way he phrases things that I'm like, I'm going to use that. I borrow things from Ernest all the time. I mean, if you can't borrow things from the founder of your religion, what are you doing in the religion, right? Not that we're a religion. We're not really a religion. We're much more of a philosophy. So that's the run up to this. Now, the article we've got today is, how old are you? What? Because I'm past 50. So let's see what Ernest has to say about how old are you? How old do you think you are? How old is old? And when does a person get too old to enjoy life? The answer is never. Could it be possible that even age is something that happens to our minds rather than to our bodies? And could a person be as young at 80 as they are at 18? And like the lady that I work for, my mortgage paying job, is 85. She will be 86. And like, she's pretty sharp and still very physically active. She works 4 days a week. So she does go take naps sometimes, but like, she is 85 and still working 4 days a week. Some days you are as old as you feel. We are told that each cell of the physical body is completely replaced every 14 months. It seems funny, does it not, to think that no one is even a year and a half old physically. We are told that there is no reason to suppose that our minds grow old, that the mind is as young at 90 as it is at 9, that the only thing that is added to it is experience. It's like your file cabinets are full. Most psychologists agree that we learn less rapidly as years advance, but just as certainly and just as accurately, which is good news because I still want to learn another language. Or rather, I want to pick one back up. Some of the scientific minds today are telling us that while time exists, age does not. That in reality, time is not a way of measuring years and months and days, but rather a measurement of experience in a limitless life. If it is true in a broad sense that neither the mind nor the body actually grows old, it is time for us to ask what produces this aging process. Okay, you know what, honey? I can answer that question, but let's see what Ernest has got to say. Suppose we think of mind in the same way we think of space. Space is everywhere. Many things exist in space, but space itself is never crowded and it never gets old. No matter how much stuff you put into it, there is still just as much space. You cannot wear it out, it never grows tired, and it never becomes burdened with care. And now let us introduce another thought that we have often talked about. God's mind is the only mind there is, and God is eternal. The whole proposition is this: we live because God lives in us, and we are able to think because the mind of God is in us. Our trouble is that we have thought of ourselves as separate from God, and in doing this, we have stored up a burden of care and worry in our minds. We also take on a feeling of responsibility which we are not equipped to handle when we come to the place where we think I am separate from God. If I am facing life and all its problems with my little mind, I feel inadequate to handle the situations that come along. because I am working all on my own, alone, and without help from the power that is greater than I am. What a load we shall get off our minds when we learn that there is but one mind that carries every load. Is this not what Jesus meant when he said, "My yoke is easy, my burden is light"? I don't know. Let's keep going. All right. And now let us consider what wonderful miracles life is always working in our bodies. When even one minute cell is injured, there is an intelligence that immediately puts all the chemistry of our body to work to replace it with a new cell, one that is whole, complete, and perfect. This is how wounds heal. And he is right. It's almost startling how divine intelligence works for us to give us health and comfort, even in such a simple instance as stepping from a warm room into a cold winter air. If we had eyes to see it, we would witness the miracle of the one life at work for our comfort. This life immediately causes the circulatory system, the respiratory system, and the digestive system to go to work in such a way as to bring about an inner balance of temperature to counteract the cold wind and keep the body free from pain and discomfort. All right. But nature does not seem to interfere with our thoughts processes in the same way. And this is because we are individuals and have the right of self-choice. And so we are permitted to store up liabilities in the mind, which tend to perpetuate our discomfort. Oh, yeah. We store a lot of stuff up in there that we could let go of, which is the whole purpose of forgiveness work. It has nothing to do with the other person. It's about getting rid of those burdens that you're carrying around. Okay. And maybe not the whole purpose, but I would say a bulk of it. All right. Life maintains a wonderful factory in the human body. It has a furnace room to generate heat. It has a chemical plant to purify and dispose of poisons. It has a maintenance crew that keeps the machinery in order. It even has a lubricating system which keeps the joints oiled. And there is a transportation system that carries supplies from one part of the factory to another. And an inter-office communication system that would stagger the imagination of the greatest engineer. And he's right. I mean, honestly, if you think about the body like that, that's what I'm talking about, that turn of phrase. He just has these really interesting ways of describing things. This one mind, which is God, is capable of running the factory of this human body in perfect order. And think about it. There are a whole lot of things that happen that you don't ever think about. Like, if you start to think about your breathing gets weird. And then when you forget about your breathing goes back to normal. Think about it. If you had to think about your heart beating and breathing, like, you wouldn't have time for anything else. When Jesus said, "Consider the lilies," he could have been saying to us, see how beautifully the factory is run when there is no interference with the laws of God. That right there, that's the important thing. It's the interference with God's law, the laws of God. It is self-evident that God's mind would be capable of running this factory of ours, which we call our bodies, if we would not throw wrenches of fear and doubt into the machinery. And if we would not overload the communication system and the transportation system with burdens of grief and worry. He's not telling you not to do it. He's just saying, stop overwhelming the system. Okay? Because grief and worry are real things, and they have their place. We just have a tendency to overwhelm the system. That's science of mind is about balance. Okay. This is so simple that we should ask ourselves, how is it and why is it that we have arrived at a place where we have stopped trusting the divine architect who created the factory and who is capable of operating it so perfectly? And I would say that there are a whole lot of religions that teach us not to. Okay. I think that if we could answer this question, we would know what is wrong with us. As a TikTok creator says, hit me with it. All right, Ernest, let's see your speculation. In Job 33:23, we read, if there be one among 1,000 who show unto man his uprightness, His flesh shall be fresher than a child's. He shall return to the days of his youth. Okay? If, of course, we should not interpret this as meaning that we want to go back to childish ways or former years, but that we do wish to keep the child always with us and not be burdened with the years that have passed. This is what repentance means. It means to think another way. It literally means to rethink. Repentance means to rethink the situation. Okay? To think another way. It means a new birth in the mind of that life that comes fresh and new every moment of our existence. Every day is a fresh beginning. Every day is the world made new. Every day is an opportunity for us to make a new choice. We do not have to keep making the same choice over and over and over again. Okay. All right, back to Ernest. Nor does this mean that we should have to recapture the physical body we possessed years ago, but rather that we recognize that the youth of the physical body which we now have is because there is not one cell in it that is over a year and a half old. Youth is in every muscle and in every fiber of our being. It is no wonder Jesus likened the kingdom of heaven to a child. So let us consider the mental attitudes of a child if we would recapture the dream we seem to have lost. Okay, I'm looking forward to this ride. When we were young, we had so much to look forward to. The days were crowded with happiness and fulfillment. We could hardly wait to get up in the morning to begin over again because we had such enthusiastic expectation. The first third of a person's life is spent in the environment of the day in which they live, always with something more ahead. They are learning, studying, finding out how to do things, getting ready to live in a larger way. They have the security of home and parents. They are not afraid. They reach maturity and the world is still ahead of them. They fall in love, get married, have children, and the cycle repeats itself. They live in their family, and all of the things that they have done for themselves, now they do for them, only in a bigger way. This is about what happens to the average person for the first half of their life. People do not grow old when they are busy with the pleasures of living, the enjoyment of expectation, the enthusiasm, and the thought of more that is to come. But too often, when these first two periods have passed, then there is not enough left to look forward to. The kick has gone out of life. For no person is happy who chases mad ambition. We are happy only in creative things and in those things where we share the joys of living with others. We must keep our interest in life so active that there will be an element of wonder and surprise in simple everyday things. I'm going to pause here just for a minute because, like I said, the lady that I work for is 85. And what keeps her going is the fact that she comes into the store 4 days a week. That is what keeps her going. Her husband, who did pass 10 years ago, and because he had health challenges, made the comment about the number of people that, in the field that he worked in, who retired and were dead within a year because they had nothing left to look forward to. But the people who retire and pick up other things to do, be that volunteering, be that, helping with their grandchildren, be that, sometimes they go back to work. They have something to look for. They have something to do. It keeps them younger. It keeps them active. Science says that, all right? So he's right. Ernest is right here. He is right. Okay. Life is an activity. And when we stop being active, we turn away from the newness of life. And the person who grows old in years without an inward expectation and assurance that they are going to live forever somewhere will find the last part of their life burdened with the thoughts of yesterday. Let us make up our minds that yesterday is gone, tomorrow has not yet arrived, but today can be filled with wonder. If we know what we stand on the threshold of that which is wonderful and new. I may have left a word out in there. Okay. I have never yet met a single individual who maintained this attitude in the last part of their life unless they had faith. And I am talking about the kind of faith that we all understand the meaning of. Faith in something bigger than we are, in a power greater than we are, and a complete assurance that we are going to live forever somewhere. It is an interesting fact that whether or not we know it, and whether or not we like it, our lives are so tied in with God, the living Spirit, that we cannot even remain young and enthusiastic unless we know that we are one with that which knows no age and has no burdens. Youth is not a time of life. It is a state of mind. Nobody grows old by merely living a number of years. People grow old only by deserting their ideals. Oh my God. People, that's worth repeating. People grow old only by deserting their ideals. Years wrinkle the skin, but to give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul. Oh my God. Ugh. Worry, doubt, self-distrust, fear, and despair. These are long, long years that bow the head and turn the spirit back to dust. Whether 70 or 16, there should be in every person the love of wonder, the sweet amazement at the stars and the star-like things and thoughts, the undaunted challenge of events, the unfailing childlike appetite for what's next, and joy in the game of life. You are as young as your faith, as old as your doubt, as young as your confidence, as old as your fear, as young as your hope, as old as your despair. So Ernest really kicked us in the teeth in the last two paragraphs. Oh. Yeah. Wow. Talking about wrinkling the soul. What was that line? Hang on, I'm going to put my glasses back on because that was just... What? Worried down. Your years wrinkle the skin, but to give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul. To give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul. Oh. Yeah. He just really, I don't think I've ever read that one before. That one's really good. I like that one a lot. Because he was using science, and he's right. And I get it why, it's like you gotta have the faith of a child, because the child lives in that enthusiastic anticipation of what's next. And sometimes we get jaded, and that's when we get old. When we get jaded is when we get old. Really, honestly. Oh my goodness. Like, the whole article was interesting. Like, it didn't feel like I read like 5 pages. Because it moved pretty quick. And I'm familiar with a lot of what he was talking about anyway, because of what I do to pay my mortgage. But, and then he just kicked you in the teeth with the last 2 paragraphs. Look, you know what? Wow. Okay. And on that note, I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day, a take care of business day, a let's wrap this week up day, a cuddle your fur babies day, a drink plenty of water day, a stay out of direct sunlight between 10 and 2 day. I heard it's going to be 98 on Sunday here. Ugh. You got this day, a do something good for yourself day, a do something silly day, a tell somebody you love them day, a look in the eye, look in the mirror and see the child looking back at you day, a contemplative day, because I just contemplated what word I'm going to use next. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. You are enough. You are enough, just as you are. You're a beloved expression of the divine. You are a brilliant light, a divine spark, spirit in motion, God in action, a beautiful masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. All right? Explore the truth of your being. I call you a brilliant light, and you look at me like, wait, what? Because sometimes there's a Rumi quote that says, if you are in darkness, look again, you might be the light. So, and it's kind of like being a butterfly. You know, you may not be able to see the beauty of your own wings, but other people can. So trust that. Trust that. You are a brilliant light and a beautiful butterfly, even when you can't see it. Especially when you can't see it. So explore the truth of your being, all right? Get to know who the divine knows you to be. Because the divine knows you to be good. It's all the divine knows. And from there, anything is possible. That's what he was talking about today. When we let go of our griefs, our worries, our burdens, our fear, our distress, life's far interesting and a little bit better. All right, beloveds. Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I'll be back with you around 9 a.m. I'm sure I will have a park story for you because I get to go to the park tomorrow. So take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.